All right, so this first came to my attention on Twitter, and then I got suggested Herovation's video. So at this point, I'm thinking like, okay, I gotta look into this and I definitely gotta talk about it. I mean, cause like, even if you just type Inko Midoriya into Google, one of the first results is death. So it's like, what is this all about? Is she actually dead? But if she is dead, when did she die? And because you're thinking like, well, I mean, I follow the My Hero Academia manga just as closely as anybody else, and this never came up. I mean, even in the most recent chapter when we got the confirmed hero deaths or just character deaths in general, she wasn't listed among them. Not only that, she hasn't been in the story lately. And honestly, she's really hardly in the story at all. Like after All Might versus All for One, I think she appears in like 3 or 4 chapters or something like that. So let me break down and explain this theory, I guess you could say, and try to make some sense of it and see if it's actually true. So this all starts in chapter 276 when we see Deku's mom, Inko Midoriya. And this is shortly after Plus Ultra Shigaraki wakes up and like does the decay nuke. We're seeing like news coverage of it and multiple character reactions to it. And it cuts over to like ancillary family characters. And then we see Inko Midoriya. And in this panel, we see her in a city somewhere and she's like just looking off into the distance with like a smile on her face, and she has like a bike with her. Now this bike is the crux of this theory because the bike also has a basket attached to it. Now also let me point out that this is the first time I'm pretty sure we're seeing her since like chapter 243. But anyway, let's go to the future in chapter 282, because at the end of that chapter, we see Gigantomachia on his rampage and he's about to bust through a city. Now, if you direct your attention to below where Gigantomachia is about to rampage through, you'll see like this shop of some sort. I don't know what it is. I'm sure some of you savvy Japanese readers will know what this place is. But in front of the shop, we see a bike with a basket on it. And this has led quite a few people to believe that this is none other than the same bike with the basket that belonged to Inko in chapter 276, meaning that Inko is inside of this shop and, you know, considering Gigantomachia is like about to rampage through it, she was killed as a result of that. So yeah, that's it. That's the theory, or the evidence, I suppose, to support her possible death. So yeah, there's not a lot to go off of here, but I suppose it is possible. But we're gonna have to go deeper into this and see if this is actually the truth. So first, we're gonna have to figure out where Inko lives. So apparently the Midoriya apartment is located in Musutafu, Japan. This is one of Horikoshi's fictional Japanese cities based off of a Star Wars location, the planet Mustafar. But if we go a little deeper, Musutafu is apparently located somewhere near Shizuoka Prefecture. So now that we have a rough idea of where she lives or where she could possibly be located, let's take a look at Gigantomachia's path of destruction. So going back to chapter 282, the same chapter where we just saw Gigantomachia about to rampage through that place that had the bike in front of it, it tells us all of the locations that he's going through. So it says a supermassive villain is currently making a beeline directly north from Mount Gunga in Wakayama Prefecture to Jaku City in Greater Kyoto region. The villain's predicted route will take him through Mino City, Kakun City, Nembaro City, Hondo City, Moshu City, Horisu City, Kuraaru City, Kurita City, Karamari City, Suwanari City, Hao City, Sairo City, Shido City, Anato City, Deno City, Oda City, Asaruda City, Namato City, Kawa City, Kawahara City. Yeah, a lot of cities, and it doesn't make sense considering the speed that he's moving and the geography of this, but it's whatever. This is what Horikoshi wanted. But anyway, the point is that Musutafu or Shizuoka is not listed in that list. So that right there is already kind of leaning towards the side of debunking this. Now granted, it doesn't mean that Inko has to always be in those 2 locations just because she lives there. I mean, she could have left, I suppose, and according to the geography here, these cities are only like a mile apart or something, so I don't know, if she just went down the street, she probably could have wound up in one of these cities maybe, I don't know. But I think it would have been made more apparent if one of those 2 places was listed in chapter 82, but it's not. Now also, you know, maybe he did go through those and it's just not listed. Maybe beforehand he trampled through them, I don't know, but don't you think it would have been said that he did? But yeah, that's all we can really go off of right now, and that's as far as I could dig into this, I guess. And also, like, the bike itself, it's hard to see, you know, like even me zooming up on the Viz app, it's hard to make out exactly, like, is it one for one the bike that she had? I mean, it doesn't look that obvious to me other than them just both being bicycles with baskets in the front. But I'm not gonna say that this isn't true because I think it would be super interesting if it was. And this would certainly be like Oda level storytelling in my opinion. Like, it's so subtle that you have to really pay attention like that to figure it out before it's exactly revealed. And like I said, I think it would be super interesting if she actually was killed by Gigantomachia just like off panel and then you only find out about it afterwards. I mean, yeah, it's tragic that his mom died, but if it's going to tell a superior narrative within the story, then I guess it's for the greater good. And yes, that would certainly make this series more dark than it already is, but it's already dark, so it's fine, I guess. I mean, it's not like it's anything new. Characters aren't exactly like safe in this series. I mean, especially with this war arc, considering this is the most death we've ever had by far. And yeah, besides her just dying, also we have to think about the effect it would have on Izuku. It would be, of course, devastating to him, as it would be to anybody. And as far as I know, he hasn't really had like significant loss yet, right? He's kind of just experienced loss through others vicariously, I suppose, and also the damage inflicted on himself. But if he were to lose his mom, that would really shift Izuku's character into a completely different direction. Not only that, it could also possibly open new storylines, right? He would possibly start acting uncharacteristic. And also, if she is dead, that could introduce the element of his dad, who we clearly haven't seen at this point yet. I mean, that character, Hisashi Midoriya, is barely ever mentioned in the series. I think only like once or twice they talk about him maybe. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I have a video dedicated to the theory of the possibility that All For One is Izuku's dad. Possibility, not saying it's 100% the case, but it seems pretty likely, especially if you know, watch the video and see the evidence that supports it. But if All For One is not Izuku's dad and he's just some random dude who we haven't been introduced to yet, I certainly think the death of Inko would be a catalyst to just introduce this character into the story if we don't already know him. And like I said, opening new storylines here. Not only that, but you know, All Might is probably going to die too, inevitably, at least you know, the whole red flags and the Chekhov's death that we've been going off of for a while now. So it's like, it would be really devastating to the character of Izuku if he lost his mom and All Might. Because I just assumed that All Might was going to be the big loss that he was going to suffer in this series. But his mom dying would be a major twist, and I wouldn't be mad at it. You're a sociopath! But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Let me know what you think about the theory of her being dead. Do you think it makes sense? Do you think that the subtle evidence here is enough to support this? Let me know. And if you like the video, guys, please give it a like. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.